Hello networkers, and welcome back to another episode of Ask the Network Engineer, where I answer one of your questions. And in this episode, I want to talk about working with vendors on multi-vendor type projects. And this question actually was inspired and came from Lou, where it says a lot of kind words. Thank you very much. He says that I love your books and your videos in network design. They are very well organized and easy to understand. So thank you very much. Network design is something that I really love the most, and it's truly my specialty as a network engineer. I do network designs, that's what I do. But let's get on to the question of basically working with vendors or dealing with multi-vendor designs. So the question is, when it comes to a complicated problem which requires you to design a multi-vendor solution with some stuff that you may know or not know. So for example, you may be asked to do a design for a data center that has Cisco equipment, but it could have a Barracuda load balancer and things like that. So the question is, obviously, everybody does not know everything. So how can you design the right solution for that advanced technology with multi-vendor products like that? Do you need to get help from the engineers or of suppliers or a distributor to get that solution built? So how does that work? So let's talk about that further in this episode. So the short answer is absolutely. Networks today are definitely very multi-vendor in terms of how they are designed. Networks have changed. I mentioned this a lot in different episodes, that networks today aren't solely Cisco. Those days are long gone, or solely Juniper. It is a mix of different vendor equipment, from the firewalls to the fabric. When I say fabric, the data center or the LAN, wireless infrastructures, they are all different. And that means that you need to have a certain set of skills to learn how to deploy them, but there will be new products that you're not going to be comfortable with. I talked about that in previous episodes of how do you actually learn about new products that are out there. And specifically for this question though, working with other vendors may be important depending on the project that you're working on. But there will be projects that, well, it depends on who is the lead engineer, and that's really the most important thing. Because I've been involved in networking projects where I was only responsible for a certain part of that project. So for example, there was a office building migration where one particular company actually was good technology. They were moving from one building to another building, and they had a voice system, they had a Cisco network infrastructure. But I was responsible only for the voice, migrating over Cisco Call Manager, Cisco Unity. They got rid of that. They used the Exchange for their unified messaging, which I actually recommended. And that was my responsibility for that project. So I was the vendor for the unified communications part. I wasn't the actual vendor to take care of the networking stuff, the routers and the switches. That was a different team that took care of that. So these kind of things can definitely happen where there are different engineers or consultants doing certain parts of a project. But when you're working on a particular project and you are the lead engineer, which would probably be really the project manager. The project manager would be the person that's going to get the particular resources for the project that you're working on. But as a lead engineer, and I've been in that position several times before, you want to understand the different areas that are required and what is the roles and responsibilities of that person that is part of that project. That is the most important thing. So for example, you want to figure out who is going to do the actual network design of this particular network and make sure that they're knowledgeable in that area. Who's going to do the actual deployment of that infrastructure? Now, deployment could be many different components or individuals, like who take care of the security component, who takes care of the router deployments, who take care of the circuit terminations, if that is part of the actual project, who takes care of the wireless, the server infrastructure, or computing infrastructure specifically, who's taking care of the ordering of equipment, who's taking care of the data center facilities of actually doing the racks, cabinets, trays, all of that. That's another beast in itself. Who's taking care of basically the testing model? What will be testing? There are different components just for a project, and that may require different people. So you need to understand exactly what is required in those areas, what they should have, and getting those necessary resources for that. So the bottom line is that when you're working on a project and you are an engineer of that company, or you are a particular consultant for a company, and this is something I actually talked about in a couple of other previous episodes to this one here, but if the project contains very expensive equipment, like a Cisco UCS cluster, for example, or an SDN topology, or an HCI basically cluster, that will involve very likely multiple people. The higher the price tag for a project and the equipment, it's going to require a lot of people. It's not going to be, oh, we'll just you take care of $1 million project. It'll be a lot of people because they want to make sure that this is done correctly. That's a really big deal. As a consultant, I am constantly in meetings or in design meetings where it's me and other people. And for me as a consultant, I'm not trying to compete. I'm not trying to step on anyone's shoes. That does have some tension there when you're a consultant and there's another consultant right over here and we're like, well, I can do what you're doing and vice versa, right? It is what it is though, but it depends on the organization and kind of the trustworthiness of what that person is going to provide. Again, if you understand what is required, what is the areas that are needed. So that means that if you have a project that has Cisco UCS and you're not familiar with that, but you're familiar with the data center infrastructure, then you can basically get the different kind of partners or consulting groups that specialize with that and say, look, I need someone to take care of this area or this part of the project, not the entire project. I'm responsible for the design. I'm responsible for the DCI technologies, VXLANs, whatever the requirements may be. You say, I'm responsible for that, but I'm looking for a person who is responsible and has the expertise and knowledge of taking care of the UCS cluster or the HCI cluster or whatever the expertise may require, or the Barracuda load balancers. Barracuda load balancers are pretty easy to actually learn. So for something like that, you might be able to get the right resources, learn it, understand the requirements from that, and kind of do it yourself. That's something more different. But like an A10, yeah, that may require maybe a different partner. I don't have direct experience with that because that requirement never really comes up. But the point is partnering with a particular or getting an actual partner for a project may be required depending on the equipment and the price tag of that environment though. That usually will always come up. I have encountered that several times. And sometimes I do take care of multiple roles, but sometimes I don't take care of that. It all really depends. I think the final point that I really want to make that's really important is, again, when you're working with a project that is pretty large in scale, which means it'll be large for the price tag, you will be working with a partner, like a Cisco partner, a Juniper partner. Those may come up. And when you're working with a partner, you need to be very clear of what you want that partner to be a part of with that project. Like if you want them to say, hey, I want you to do the design, the configuration of this component only. You gotta be very clear on what your requirements are, okay? Because here's the thing to keep in mind about partners. Suppliers, distributors, they're all the same thing really. They will attempt to push a full deployment of this design. They want to do the design. They want to do the deployment of all aspects. They want to do the test plan. They want to do the ordering. They want to take care of all of that because, well, that's part of their business. They're going to try to push for that. And I think it's important for you that if you want that, then that's perfectly fine. But if you're saying, no, I can take care of the other areas, that's not important, which is good because you can cut the cost for the company and be very clear, not just with you, but with the management team. That's really important because sometimes these partners will go around you and try to get that business. I have seen that. So you want to be on the same page with yourself and management staff that we want to bring in a particular vendor that has an expertise, that has an advanced specialty in this product that we want to deploy. And you'll learn about the product from them so you can get to understand how it's deployed, designed, and supported, because the support model is extremely important. Because trust me, a company is not going to hire a consulting company to do day-to-day support. Never going to happen as a consultant. I have never done that. They don't call me to do day-to-day support. As a consultant, I do basically design work, I do deployments, and I pass it down to the support staff and they take care of it. That's going to be the norm. So anyway, that's what I would basically recommend. That one, vendor, multi-vendor kind of solutions, working with partners, those things definitely will come up for bigger projects, larger in scale, but be very clear on what is the areas and responsibilities needed to complete that project. And then from there, you can go ahead and be very clear with the partner or the supplier or the distributor on what you want them to provide to this project. And a quick side note, not related to this video though, but I'm recording this video here, not on my computer, because I got like a, it was last year, but I got like a 5K iMac. And the webcam that I was using for that was really a lower res. So you may saw in some of the videos that, that I was recording, so I apologize for that. But anyway, I actually purchased this Logitech 4K webcam. And as of now, March 2018, I do not recommend buying this. There is a very common problem that many people are experiencing. I saw it when I was doing my testing, and that the video basically overlaps or kind of continues on the video display. And you can edit it out, but I shouldn't have to do that. And it has not been resolved. People are complaining about it. There's poor customer service. So if you're thinking about getting this Logitech 4K, I think it's called the Brio, I would recommend holding out and looking at other options if you want to do 4K video recording, like maybe your phone or maybe other kind of equipment that is out there. Maybe more pricier, but it's something to keep in mind if that's something that you're considering. And we're done with this episode. So if you have any questions about being a network engineer, post those questions below in the comments and your question will come up in a future episode on this channel. So thank you for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and support us at rodhub.net. And until next time, keep networking.